So I recently caught a few episodes of Futurama while I was overseas, since it's like one of the only few shows they had that was on English. It got me thinking, hey, why not make a Futurama build? Wish me luck. So to start off, I printed out a few views of this building I plan to make, which is the Planet Express building from the TV show Futurama. I'm going to use this Miniverse ball, which is the container you get like these little pieces of toys from. And as the base, I'm going to use this plastic cup. Simple enough, I hope. Okay, I'm going to use this embroidering canvas as the balcony area. It works because it looks, the grid lines make it look like it's an industrial catwalk of some sort. What it looks like, I know I should have probably measured this, but close enough. Just putting it together. Not bad. Yeah, I use these. This is for insulation of windows. I'm just gonna put them around the gap between the cup and that dome. Not bad looking at all. Now I'm gonna use the hinge part of this light bulb. I'll break it up a little bit more dramatic. Yeah, I cut myself. Be careful when you do this. If you do plan to use this, really sharp. It looks pretty good. Don't look at my bloody finger there. And this piece of plastic that I found somewhere, I forgot what it's for, but I'm gonna use it as the top of that dome. It's gonna be like an antenna. Not bad looking. Okay, a tiny Vaseline container. I like the cap of this, and it follows the curve of that dome perfectly, so I'm going to use it as one of those as the windows. So I'm going to slice them in half. I'm going to have 4 of these, but right now I only have 2, so we'll see what I gotta, I guess, use up more Vaseline for something. And like I said, it follows the curve really well, and looks pretty good. Now that I look at it though, it looks a little bit short, so I'm gonna add length to this cup. I'm using a little cupcake container. Now to make the door, it's gonna be a simple cardboard stock base, and I'm gonna make frames out of slices of foam. Pretty easy, pretty standard. I'm gonna put a little bit of decoration on it. That circle that I cut off the antenna for, and I'm gonna put this gear charm. Now to put some texture, I'm gonna use corrugated parts of this container. Make that door look a bit more textured. Not too bad. Now I'm gonna put windows around the base structure of it, right below the dome. You can see the picture, it's right there. Just toothpicks to create the door frame, or the window frame I should say. Real simple, real easy. There's 7 of these, just to put them in the circumference of that entire cylinder. It's a little bit bigger than I was hoping to make, but it'll have to do. Not bad. Looks a bit goofy, but close enough. Alright, so here's the tower part of my Futurama build. I made it shorter again. This was a little taller. I ended up cutting a small section of this cupcake container to make it not so tall, to make it more proportionate to the dome. And it's a big pile of garbage right now, but it looks pretty good to me. It's time to make the main building. I'm just going to use some foam. Really easy to break. Okay, there we go. So I'm going to use a combination of insulation foam and cardboard, and we'll see what the details. I'll probably just use a bunch of little plastic pieces. Pretty simple cut. You got that arch, that big arch in the building that's really distinct. Now some stock cardboard for the side walls. Just quick hot glue here. There you go. You got yourself a basic little structure here, and that's how it's supposed to look like. Now I'm gonna put a little structure to link that main building to the tower. It's like a little, right there, like a little hallway build. And if you look at the drawings or the pictures of the cartoon, it has a bunch of tubes sticking out of it. So I'm gonna try to do that. Not bad. So I'm using the rest of this plastic folder for the siding of the building, just mainly to get rid of that cardboard texture, because I'm not really too happy with it. Looks pretty good. And I have these toy flutes that I got from Amazon that I used for an old build. I'm going to use it as pipes that juts out from the sides of the building. Yeah, I cut that out pretty badly. Random pieces, odds and ends. I think a cap of a contact lens solution, and I don't know what this is. I think from a vending machine toy. I'm going to use the bendy parts of the bendy straw to create the other pipes that come out of this main pipe. I like using these bendy straws. It creates a really good effect, especially when you paint it. And I'm using the pipe holes to kind of make it more continuous. And there's going to be a long pipe at the end here that attaches to the building itself. Fits well enough. Now I'm creating the ledge right on the side here, like a little catwalk. I got this from I think a soup container, or like one of those microwavable meal trays. I like the corrugated effect. All right, now time to make the windows. Just basic stock cardboard. I think this is a cereal box container. And I'm making the window frames that pretty much cut across the entire building. Looks pretty basic so far. And I'm using this embroidery canvas as the window frames or window sill. It has, you know, the bars that cut across or crisscross along the window itself. And I'm going to spread them out, basically space them out correctly. Since they're, yeah, there you go, they're going to be across the entire building. And I'm creating a little pattern here that's kind of this, I'm trying to copy what it looks like, or close enough to what it looks like with the actual build. I have some gaps in between windows, kind of like this. Close enough, I guess. A little bit more decorative. Now I'm just gluing them on, make sure they're straight. Not so bad. All right, let's make this roof. So I'm going to start off with thin slices of insulation foam with my trusty knife here. And I'm going to use these pieces of foam as the base for the roof. And I want the roof to be detachable, so they're going to be basically what's holding the roof on and off the entire building itself. Maybe I'll use magnets eventually. But that's the basic idea. Now I'm gonna create this curve for the roof itself with a basic stock cardboard. So it's going to be the cross beam, basically, like that. And I'm crinkling up the roof so I can make it curve. So crinkled up cardboard, basically, nice and easy. Follows that curve really well. A lot of glue, because if not, that curve is not gonna stay. Nice and detachable. Looks like a bread box, actually. I'm gonna use this plastic folder to line the roof to kind of hide that that cardboard, and it looks nice. It looks metallic. And in the TV show, the roof is actually retractable. So I kind of created spaces a little bit to make it look like it's a retractable roof. I'm just covering the edges to clean up the lines of my uneven cuts. Nice to hide them. So I had a little bit of a dilemma with the banisters. There's a lot of banisters in this build. So I figured I'm going to give something a shot. I'm going to use these embroidery canvas, but I'm going to cut pieces of it. So I'm going to use the flat blade for my X-Acto knife here and just cut chunks, little sections of the embroidery canvas, kind of like this. Then I realized it actually, if I leave the bottom piece intact, like right here, I would have an easier time gluing it. So I ended up leaving the bottom half intact for the rest of it. It worked really well, actually. And I'm just going to cover the glued up part with another piece of black folder. Now to finish it up with some posts for the balcony. Turned out better than I thought. Now I'm going to work on the other side. I actually jumped the gun on this thing and I put a balcony already on the side, but I guess I have to break it apart later because there's a part that juts out that actually goes in the water in the actual building. So I'm making that piece now, like a little section of the building. This part actually is supposed to sink into the water on the side of the building, but I'm not going to do that, at least not right now, not until I base it. So it's just basic stock cardboard, and I'm going to line it up with insulation foam. Pretty standard. It's a bit of a mess, but hopefully I can fix it up with bits and pieces of foam here, which is what I'm doing now. Yeah, as good as it's gonna get, I guess. Now I'm placing this little window, this big window actually. Now I have to break this platform that I prematurely attached. I didn't realize that it actually comes out more. There's a big section of that platform that is above that piece of the building that juts out. Easy enough fix, I guess. I just need to make more banisters. Like I said, there is a lot of banisters in this build. Came out well enough. Cleaned out as well as I would hope. So this is where my Planet Express build is at so far. So I have the tower, which is basically nothing but a tower of garbage right now. And that main building, right now I'm gonna attempt to attach it, but there's a big gap in there. So it seems like I might have to cut out an outline to make this part fit in here. I'm a little hesitant into cutting this thing because if I cut it, I can't fix it, or there's no turning back essentially if I do cut this out. But it's something I guess I have to do. All right, it took a little bit longer than I thought it would. It was actually a lot of work, but here's my little build. It's my Planet Express building here. It opens up, modular. That's where the ship comes out of, but obviously you don't have a ship. Mostly out of trash, but I really like it. It's pretty close to what I was hoping it would look like. It's just a matter of painting it, and it should be good to go. And here it is. Close enough. I mean, it's not like an exact replica since I was building it out of trash, but I'm really happy with it. I mean, it opens up. I don't have a ship, so, but cool enough.